Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is the only game in the FromSoftware catalog that will make you feel completely helpless and then without warning make you feel completely unstoppable. Same game, same bosses, same mechanics. The only thing that changed is you. And that transformation is why 7 years later people are still talking about this game. Sekiro came out in March 2019. At that point FromSoftware already had a reputation. Bloodborne, Dark Souls, games that punished you relentlessly and made you earn every inch of progress. So when Sekiro was announced, people expected more of the same. What they got was something different enough to split the community. The game sold 2 million copies in its first week. It had over a billion minutes watched on Twitch in the same period. It won Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2019 and on Steam. Critics gave it a Metacritic score of 90. By every measure, it was a massive success. And yet, people bounced off it harder than almost any other FromSoftware game, because this one asked something completely different from you. It didn't let you grind your way past difficulty. It didn't let you summon help. It said, learn this or go home. I came to Sekiro after Bloodborne and Dark Souls 3. It was the natural next step. And from the moment I started playing, I knew this game was doing something those two weren't. It took me a while to understand what that was, but once I did, I kept coming back over and over again. With an anime adaptation arriving later this year, there's a new audience about to discover Sekiro for the first time. So let's talk about what makes it worth their time. Combat in Sekiro is the best in FromSoftware's catalog. I know that's a strong claim. A lot of people would argue Bloodborne has the best combat in the series. And Bloodborne's rally system, the speed of it, the aggression it demands, that is genuinely great. But Sekiro does something Bloodborne does not do. It removes every clutch. In Bloodborne, you have multiple weapons, strict weapons with 2 modes, different builds. In Dark Souls 3, you have an enormous range of playstyles, strength builds, dexterity. For 3, faith. You can adapt the game to how you want to play. Sekiro says no, one weapon, one core mechanic, learn it or fail. The entire combat system is built around 2 things, posture and deflection. Every enemy, every boss has a posture bar. You break it, you get a death blow, an instant kill. And the fastest way to break posture is not to dodge and chip away at health. It is to stand your ground and deflect. Hit that block button at the exact right moment, sparks fly, and you have just done their attack against them. When you first start playing, this feels impossible. The timing is strict, the attacks are fast. Most people's instinct coming from other FromSoftware games is to dodge everything, keep your distance, look for openings. That instinct will get you killed in Sekiro. The game doesn't reward patience and caution in the same way, it rewards aggression and precision. But then something happens. There's a specific moment, different for every player, where the deflection timing suddenly makes sense. And when that happens, Sekiro transforms completely. The game that felt impossible becomes the most satisfying combat experience you have ever had. I genuinely believe Sekiro is the hardest FromSoftware game on your first playthrough and one of the easiest once it truly clicks. That gap between those two versions of the same game is what makes it special. Sekiro is not just a combat game, it's a shinobi game. The stealth system in this game was not thrown in as an afterthought. It feels like it was designed from the beginning as a core part of the experience. And when you think about it practically, Wolf is one person moving through locations filled with groups of enemies and dangers on every side. Without stealth, that scenario is almost impossible. The game understands this, so stealth isn't optional, it's essential. Moving through tall grass, stopping from rooftops, using the grappling hook to reposition silently, isolating enemies one by one before a bigger fight. All of this flows naturally from how the game is built. It doesn't feel like a separate mode you switch into. It feels like being a shinobi. Sekiro's bosses are better than Bloodborne's main game bosses. I'll just say that. Bloodborne's DLCs are different conversation, but the main game versus main game, it's not close. And compared to Dark Souls 3, which I think has the best overall boss roster in the entire series, Sekiro holds its own. Guardian Ape, it's a giant ape. It throws things at you, including its own waste, and honestly the first time it did that, I thought it was really funny. There's something almost absurd about it that just works. The first phase is actually the harder one. You can't deflect much of what he's doing. He's moving constantly. There are grab attacks with very specific timing. You're dodging a lot looking for openings. Then you land the final death blow. Fight's over, except it isn't. The ape gets back up, headless now, carrying its own severed head. I died immediately. First time that happened to basically everyone. That fake out is one of the most memorable moments in FromSoftware's history. Demon of Hatred. A lot of people complain this boss doesn't belong in Sekiro. Too big, too chaotic, feels like something from Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne. I disagree. I loved that fight. Not every boss needs to follow the same rules. And then there's Isshin, 3 phases each harder than the last. But here's what separates him from just being brutally difficult. Every attack is readable. Every death is your mistake, not the game's. He's completely fair. That combination, genuinely hard, genuinely fair, is what makes him the best boss in this game and one of the best in the entire FromSoftware catalog. I'll be honest, the Buddhist and Shinto themes running through this game, that's not something I personally connect with. I'm a Muslim. But most people playing Sekiro aren't here for that anyway. They are here for everything we've talked about. The setting itself, feudal Japan, the architecture, the environments is beautifully built. Even if the spiritual framework is not for you, the world FromSoftware created here is unlike anything else in their catalog. Replayability is where I have mixed feelings. Sekiro is a linear game. There is no massive open world, no built experimentation. There are 4 different endings and getting some of them requires specific choices. So there's a reason to go back, but the structure doesn't naturally pull you in the way Dark Souls 3 or Bloodborne do. And yet, I bought this game, sold it and bought it again just to play it multiple times. So clearly something's pulling me back, and it's obvious what that thing is, the combat. Once Sekiro clicks, there is nothing else like it. That feeling of reading an opponent perfectly, deflecting a chain of attacks, breaking posture and landing the death blow, it doesn't get old. That's Sekiro, one of the best games FromSoftware has ever made. Let me know in the comments which boss gave you the most trouble, and do you think Sekiro has the best combat in the series? I would genuinely like to know where people land on that. If you haven't played it yet, what are you waiting for? If you want more content like this, retrospectives, rankings, deep dives on games like this, subscribe. There's a lot more coming.